If you've ever had a job that involves lifting, bending, or just doing the same thing over and over, you absolutely know that ache. You know, the one in your lower back that just builds and builds through the day? Well, today we're going to dive into a really fascinating scientific study that tested a pretty amazing therapy for that exact kind of work-related fatigue.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? It's something millions of people wonder every single day. You know, we stretch, we try to rest, but is there a way, a scientifically proven way, to actually help our muscles recover faster and maybe even prevent long-term problems? Let's find out.
Okay, so let's get right into the problem itself. It's something called cumulative fatigue. Basically, when you do the same lifting and lowering motions again and again, the load on your spine just keeps adding up, and the muscles that are supposed to protect it, like the erector spinae, they just get worn right out. And look, this isn't just about feeling a little tired at the end of your shift. This kind of fatigue leads to some very real, very serious consequences. We're talking about pain that just doesn't go away, stiffness that makes it hard to even move, and, this is the big one, a much, much higher risk of a serious low back injury because those tired muscles just can't do their job of supporting your spine anymore.
So this brings us to a really brilliant study. Instead of just guessing what might work, a group of researchers decided to put different recovery methods to a tough scientific test to see what actually gets the job done.
So, how'd they do it?
Well, they recruited 32 healthy men and set up a kind of head-to-head challenge. They split them into 3 groups, with each group getting a totally different recovery strategy.
The whole setup was designed for a perfect comparison. Group 1 got a newer therapy called Microcurrent. Group 2 got a more traditional treatment called TENS, which you might have heard of. It uses electricity to block pain signals. And the third group? They were the control, so they just got to rest. The goal was simple. Is new tech better than old tech? And is either one better than just doing nothing at all?
And they were incredibly methodical about this. First, they had to simulate a workday. So they had every single person lift a 10-kilo box, that's about 22 pounds, 100 times. Ouch. Right after, they took all their measurements, things like electronic signals from the muscles, physical stiffness, and even blood tests to look for markers of cell damage. Then each group got their 20-minute treatment, or rest. And finally, they measured everything all over again to see what, if anything, had changed.
So, before we jump to the big reveal, let's talk about what this microcurrent therapy actually is. I mean, what's the big idea? Why did scientists think these tiny electrical pulses could even make a difference?
The main idea here is that microcurrent is unbelievably gentle. The electrical currents are so low, they're not trying to force your muscle to do anything. Instead, they're designed to speak the same electrical language your own cells use. It's like giving them a little nudge to speed up their own natural healing process.
Okay, think of it like this. Your tired muscle cells are like tiny drained batteries. Microcurrent therapy basically acts like a portable charger. It helps them produce more ATP. That's the energy that powers everything in the cell. And with that extra energy, the cells can finally clear out all the junk that's built up, get their balance back, and start repairing the damage from all that hard work. All right, this is the moment of truth. After all the lifting, all the measuring, and all the treatments, the researchers put all the data together. So let's see which method came out on top.
This is really the whole point of the experiment, right? Did any of the fancy machines actually make a difference, or was just laying on the floor for 20 minutes the best bet after all?
The results for muscle fatigue were, well, they were striking. The microcurrent group saw a massive, significant drop in fatigue. The group that just rested, they saw a little decrease, which, makes sense. But the TENS group, their results were barely any better than doing nothing at all. And guess what? It was the exact same story when they looked at muscle stiffness. Once again, the microcurrent group had a huge improvement. Their muscles got way less stiff after the treatment. And again, the TENS therapy just didn't provide any real benefit over taking a simple break.
So the takeaway here is crystal clear. When all the numbers were crunched, only one treatment really stood out from the pack. Microcurrent was the only therapy that gave a real, measurable recovery from both the fatigue and the stiffness that they had created.
Now, this is way more than just an interesting lab result. So, what does this all mean for actual people who are dealing with this kind of back strain day in and day out?
You don't have to take my word for it. The authors of the study summed it up perfectly. They wrote, "These results suggest that microcurrent stimulation was effective for recovery from cumulative muscle fatigue, while TENS had no effect." It really doesn't get much clearer than that.
And this is why this is such a potential game changer. It's not just about feeling a little better after a long day. This points to a way to actively speed up recovery, to break that cycle of fatigue before it turns into chronic pain and maybe even a serious lifelong injury.
So it leaves us with this one big, thought-provoking question. Could something this simple, this gentle, a tiny targeted electrical current, become a standard tool in physical therapy or even in workplace wellness programs? Based on this evidence, the potential is absolutely there.